Hi, I'm Patty Donovan, and I'm sitting here with Dave Lounsbury, our CTO. And I have asked Dave to tell me a little bit about what he got out of some of the sessions from Tuesday here in DC.
Well, Tuesday the theme was enterprise transformation, and it's really about how you use the tools of enterprise architecture and open standards to improve the capability of your company doing business. And this was kicked off by our CEO, Alan Brown, who talked about a number of case studies where people had used enterprise architecture. Well, first they had a vision of what they wanted to do, and it was generally somehow improving their capability, but also saving a bit of money, right? But the emphasis was on growing the capability. And they used the architecture methodologies, such as TOGAF, to actually plan out how they were going to do that and then implement that through the use of open standards. And Alan presented a number of case studies, but we also had Jason Uppal, and he presented a case study that was the Edison Award that it won?
Yes, they were bronze winners this year at the Edison Innovation Awards, and QR Systems won. So, and Jason did a great job, because then he talked about the Ontario healthcare system.
It's Toronto Health Network, and their problem was the massive overload of notifications that the hospital staff, and particularly the doctors, had to deal with. So their transformation was how to manage and simplify this, so the doctors got immediate notifications for any of the urgent issues they had to deal with, but also could still manage the queue of more routine things, like his example was a drug approval, prescription approval that a doctor has to do. They could deal with that on a less urgent basis. And also, again, we also always see this theme of that you can put technology in place, but your organizational practices have to be in place. And they have to adopt to it. And his example there was, well, if they had to bring a doctor in from another hospital to cover a shift or something, they couldn't say, oh, well, we've got sick people in the wards, but we got to send you to the IT training session. It had to be something where people could come in and pick it up, and it would work for them. Right.
We had a couple of spotlights too, didn't we? Would you?
Yeah, and one of the spotlights was the cloud computing work group. And of course, they're continuing their work. Now, they originally focused on business aspects of how to know whether it's good for you to move to cloud. Now they're looking, one of the big new initiatives, and there are many, cloud's got like 9 or something like that. But this is starting to look at portability. So you want to be able to move your applications between cloud vendors so you don't get that vendor lock-in.
And that's a very active work group, isn't it? The cloud computing work group.
It's a very active work group. There are a lot of people engaged in that.
RealTime Embedded Systems Forum gave a spotlight as well, and then they've been meeting this week.
And Joe highlighted, Joe Bergman, our forum director, highlighted especially the DOS project and his high assurance work. We had also had the spotlight of the joint work of the Architecture and Security Forum, and again, that's about how they're architecting, extending TOGAF. I think we've touched on that before. And I think we wound up the morning with our future airborne capability environment. Talked about, and they're engaged in transformation as well. It's a very specific kind of transformation. This is about how the DoD has to procure avionics systems. They've got shrinking budgets. They're going to shrink the overall DoD budget by 1/3. So they've got less money to deal with, but they still have all the mission requirements they have. They've got aging aircraft. They have to replace the avionics systems. So they want portability, and they want a choice of vendors. And so the FACE standard is a standard that's heavily endorsed by every major defense contractor, and we've got the Army and Navy, and hopefully soon the Air Force backing the standard. And that will allow people to reuse components from one airframe and put it on another without having to reinvent the whole thing. So that's, really, it's a it sounds technical, but it's really a business transformation in the way the DoD does procurement. And that one of the great things about FACE that came out in the highlight was that this was done by a real partnership between government and industry. It wasn't that government endorses something. The government people are right there in the room saying this will work for us for this business reason, this isn't going to work for that business reason, and helping to guide both the business engagement and the technical standards as well.
Right, right. I know the afternoon we ended up breaking up into tracks. Did you attend any of the tracks?
I think, let's see, I have to check my notes again. With so much going on, I can't keep it all straight. Tuesday tracks. I did a little bit of the using TOGAF architecture content framework. Again, we have such a dynamic group of architects in the room that it's really very enjoyable. I don't set myself up as an architect, and certainly not the quality of the people we've got, but these people just really bring a passion for architecture into the development of TOGAF stuff.
Right. We also had a session, another live stream, that asked the experts. We're talking about TOGAF
Right.
and ArchiMate,
Right.
and that was a very lively conversation.
It was. We had a panel of 4 people, and we got questions not only from the audience, we got questions from the AEA chapters around the world. And there was a good, hour and close to an hour and a half worth of Q&A on that. Again, it's live streamed. That one we will put up on the site right away, so people can go back and watch it.
Great. Well, thanks, Dave. I appreciate it. And this, again, all the conference proceedings are going to be sent to our members and attendees, and you should get them next Wednesday. And I appreciate your time.
Well, and let me also note for the members and attendees, we have our conference live site, collaboration.opengroup.org/conference-live.
Thanks, Dave.
Sure thing. Thank you, Patty.
See you in Barcelona.
In Barcelona, absolutely. Bye-bye.